Now,
Sweet.
welcome everybody to the Reality Check Facebook Live, guys. I have a special guest on here, guys. I met this guy a couple months ago, but we just clicked like so well. You know what I mean? Like while working, we were doing more like discussing ideas than working. You know what I mean? Because we were bouncing all this positive energy off of each other. And it was really great, so I want people to hear Theo's story. You know what I mean? Like his story is very diverse. You guys are going to learn new things about him. I'm going to learn new things about him. It's going to be quite the experience for everybody here. So Theo, go ahead, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, like where you started to get to where you are now.
Okay, cool. So my name's Theo. I'm currently running a social media movement aimed around empowering youth to follow their passions, find their voice, and kind of just become the best version of themselves. I don't really know where to start, man. It's been quite a ride. I've been doing it for a couple months now. It's going really well. But in terms of how I got to where I am now, man, I don't even know where to start.
Okay, you know what? I want to hear his story. So a lot of people want to know what got you into business and personal development. Like what sparked that interest for you to pay attention to that compared to saying like, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to university. Like what sparked your interest to want to get into business and personal development?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. So what I'd say is comes to following a path that you genuinely want to do, generally speaking, you're not going to learn how to do that in school. The majority of university programs and stuff like that really teach you how to work for someone else. And personally, I didn't really want to do that. What I really wanted to do was, really have my impact and have the freedom to change the world the way that I wanted to see happen, rather than working towards changing the world in a way that other people wanted to see happen. Personally, what I wanted to change was, I found that growing up, I had a lot of issues with anxiety and depression and self-esteem issues, and I never really felt like I could raise my voice. I never really felt like I could follow a path that I wanted to take. I never really felt like I had that. But it wasn't until I started getting into personal development, reading a ton of self-help books, reading a ton of business books, that I really started to realize how powerful these things are and how little we're taught them in school. Like, there's no class on becoming the best version of yourself. There's classes on math, there's classes on science, but there's nothing really teaching kids like me who are going through stuff, how to be happier, how to be confident, how to follow their dreams. And as I saw that, and as I saw that it actually is teachable, that it actually is something that you can learn, because I literally could not do it without these books and stuff. I realized that there is a need for this in this world. And that's why I decided to drop out of school and to try to send this message out there and to teach some of the things that I've learned along the way that have really helped me. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to now.
And see, guys, I love that. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody thinks that, like, you'll look at someone, you're like, that person doesn't have self-confidence issues, but you never know what people are going through until you, like, hear their story. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that about Theo. Like, when I met this guy, he had his hair in, like, this awesome bun, and I was like, yo, that's the most confident guy I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? So you never know people's story and what it looks like for them. Theo, I'm going to ask you like one of those tough-ended questions, and I hope you're open to me asking this, is when you went to university, dropping out, how did that look like for you? Were you like, okay, I'm going to drop out, I'm going to go change the world, but how did it look like for all told to go to university? We're all told to go to college. We're all told to do those things. And you did the complete opposite of
Mm.
what you were being told.
Yeah, so what I will say is it wasn't like a sudden thing. People tend to look at me and they think, "Oh, this guy's so spontaneous. He just kind of decided, oh, I'm just going to go do this." But really, it required a ton of like really deliberate thought, strategic planning in terms of looking at, okay, what's the point? Why am I in university right now? And when I was really going down to like the deep bottom of why I was in university, there were a few reasons. The reasons were because I didn't want to fall behind my friends, one. Two, because there was an expectation in society that you get a degree, and that there was an expectation in my family that you get a degree, not wanting to be judged by other people, job security and safety as well. But I started to realize that almost all of those reasons really stem from fear. Fear of being outcasted, fear of failure, fear of, being left in the dust and being left behind. But none of them were really out of inspiration of actually wanting to do it. None of them were really out of inspiration of, wanting to learn what I was learning. And I realized that there are other ways to learn things. I love learning, but you don't necessarily need to learn in university. You can learn through books. You can learn through online courses. You can learn through stuff like what we're doing right now, like live streams, and there's tons and tons of resources out there that are not university that can be even more beneficial. So I looked at how much time and effort I was putting into school, and how little time I was really investing in stuff that I really wanted to do, which involved, creative projects and interacting with people and empowering people and talking about these things with people like you. And I realized, the amount of time and money and effort and stress and all that I was putting into school could really be put elsewhere to much more benefit to myself and to the world.
I love that you said that, because you're saying pretty much a lot of these decisions that we make are more fear-based decisions. We're afraid that we're not going to be valued as important if we just. Not a lot of entrepreneurs are talking about the hard end of the stick. They're talking about the success, the money, the lifestyle, but they're not talking about those choices that you make to get up to there, to say, hey, this was a big turning today. So, I'm really grateful that you brought that up, because again, we don't hear enough about that. What if it was wrong?
Mm.
So I really appreciate you sharing that with the audience. Theo, can you your university experience?
Mm. Yeah, sure.
Hello?
Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you tell us more about your university experience, Theo? Like,
Yeah,
what was
absolutely.
the shift made?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I started out in a biomedical science program, which is basically the pre-med, like becoming a doctor program. And you know what? I was actually doing really well in it. I had a 4.0 GPA. I was getting all A pluses. I was doing really like quite well. And everyone around me was telling me, "Oh, you're so successful. Oh, you're gonna make so much money. You're going to make it so far. You're doing so well. You're getting all these A pluses. You're crushing it at life." But I really wasn't happy doing that. It wasn't something that I was actually passionate about. It wasn't something that I genuinely enjoyed doing. And I ended up actually switching programs into a business program. And because I realized, you know what, maybe I want to go into business. And that really wasn't teaching me how to work for myself either. I was still doing well in school, and people were telling me, "Oh, you're going to make tons of money as a businessman now." But I started to realize that all these people telling me all these things really wasn't the same as my personal experience with school, right? So when
And
I
I love that.
stopped, yeah, when I stopped listening to what other people were telling me, that's when I realized, you know what, like I'm only in school because of what other people think and what other people are telling me. Like, what if I think for myself? Like, what if I like, yeah, what if I were to think for myself for once? And when I started thinking for myself, I realized like, whoa, I really don't need to be here. Like, I don't need to be here. You
And I
know?
love that you said that though, because a lot of times we have so much noise in our ear, like this person telling us this, do that, do this, do that. And then you say, when do I ever get to make a conscious decision where I get to think about what I want, what's best for me?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you made that decision. And, making that decision is never tough. But from your story, you sounded so clear. You're like, I wasn't happy.
Hmm. I
And
was,
I think a
yeah,
lot of times we sacrifice our happiness for security and safety and to do what others want us to do. But
yep,
at the same time, it's like you're chipping away at your own happiness.
yep, yep,
So, for you to make that choice to say, I'm going to do what makes me happy, I would say is like the biggest hurdle of all of it. And, I congratulate you on making that choice because I know when you made that choice, I was one of the people that supported your decision. I was
hell
like,
yeah.
yo, congratulations on you, man. Um, so now I want to talk about the elephant in the room. And this is probably my favorite part of your story
Mm-hmm.
when you decided to get up and leave to Toronto, how did that look like for you? Because you're going there, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go. So what I like about this is you, in the previous thing that we just talked about, you made a non-face fear-based decision. You talked about
Hmm.
all the other ones before where we're always making fear-based decisions because of
Yep,
others. But this
yep.
one time in your life, you took a non-fear-based decision. How did that feel for you?
Oh, it felt terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Really, really difficult, and there was a lot of resistance from the people around me. I had to leave my job. I lost my job because of it. I'm not in school anymore. I'm in a long distance relationship now, so there was all this fear around losing people, losing friends back home. Money, fears about money and stuff. So that's been absolutely terrifying, right? That's been really difficult. But what I realized is that one, I'm having a lot more fun. I'm a lot more passionate about what I'm doing. Every single thing, like the universe seems to be like conspiring to help me do it. Like things are just lining up like randomly, that seem to be like really coherent to help me progress on this path. I'm learning so much. I'm learning how it's like making me a lot more courageous. I'm getting better at taking risks, and like the work that I'm doing is really fulfilling, and it's really taking off now. So it's really cool to see that happening.
See, I would say more than anything is what you're talking about. It shaped your character. There's
Yeah.
decisions in life that we make that shape us or break us. And
Hmm.
this new decision that you've made has really shaped you to become the person that you're going to be, to want to run your business, to
That's
want to
another
be
thing.
successful. So
Yeah.
let's talk about your business. Let's talk about the business that you're running with your partner. You know what I mean? The clothing line, which is something I even want to get into myself. But let's talk
Hmm.
about how you're saying we can change the world, but make money doing it, because a lot of
Hmm.
people are very afraid that, like, I want to change the world around me,
Hmm.
but I'm afraid of the money factor. But what I like about your story and why I wanted you on here is the biggest reason for me is I think with your story is you say you need to change yourself first before you can change the world. So tell
Hmm.
us about your business and what it is for you about changing the world and making great money doing it.
Yeah. So one of our big messages is that money and impact are not mutually exclusive. They go together. When you look at how to make money, really what it is, it's all about providing value to someone and then
Mhm.
getting compensation in return. And the way that I see it is that, you know, there's nothing wrong with giving and receiving. As humans, we're all wired to want to give back. If we receive something, we want to give back. So basically what we're trying to do is provide like something that is genuinely meaningful, something that genuinely changes people's lives, but also to receive money doing that. You know, like I think that there's a lot of issues that like a lot of people feel like they can't have they can't have a big impact on the world if they want to make money too. Like people think that they need to start nonprofits in order to actually like have an impact on the world. And you know what? There's a lot of value in that, and it's extremely generous. But you know, people need to make ends meet. You
Yeah,
need to
you
make
got to make a
money,
living. You got to
and
make a living.
you know, like there are ways to survive off of less money, but there's also people out there that, you know, they want to travel, they want to live really awesome lives that are really fulfilling. And I don't see why there would be an issue with someone living a really fun life, a really exciting, passionate life full of travel and eating good food and, you know, having really cool experiences. I don't see why someone would need to sacrifice that in order to have an impact on the world. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
love that you said that though, because it's like, as you said, if you're providing the value, you'll get compensated for the value that you add. It's like the marketplace doesn't care how you feel. It's like the marketplace cares about the value you add. And then it pays
Exactly.
you in accordance to that value. But I love that you brought it up because a lot of people are scared. They'll say, well, I'll just
Mm-hmm.
do a nonprofit, but they're saying, I'll add the value, but I don't want to be compensated for it. And it's great. Nonprofits are phenomenal. You know, we're not
Mm-hmm.
saying they're bad, but it's saying that, you know, if you want to live life out of bounds of regular people, you know what I mean? Like working a 9 to 5 or being paid hourly, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
do it on a grander scale, that's okay. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with taking the steps to do it on a bigger level. And
Yeah.
I think that's what makes your story so fascinating because all the steps that you've taken have led you up to here. And you had no idea if this thing was going to take off, if it was going to flop, if it was going to do this, if it was going to do that. You were just
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm going in it with no fear. I'm just going to let it unfold and let it do its thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, you know, before this call, guys, he told me him and his business partner are going to be speaking at a high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know how incredible that is? They're going to be impacting youth. Everything that he talked about doing, about impacting and changing the world, he's starting somewhere than starting nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, for me, when I look at that, I was like, I need to have this guy on here. Because when you're talking about impacting people, and you see how he's not asking for anything, he's saying, we just want to bring some change
Mm-hmm.
and let it
But
unfold from there.
yeah, the thing about this, what's interesting is we're providing a lot of free value. Most of our all of our content's free, right? We're speaking at this high school for free. We make free YouTube videos, we make free Instagram content. It's all free and we're trying to help. But the reality is that people want to pay back.
Mm-hmm.
The minute we started providing value, people were asking for products that they could buy from us. People were asking for it. Like there was a huge demand for it because we'd already given so much. Like the thing that people don't really understand is that if you give a ton of value for free, and give, when you finally do ask for a little bit in return, people will gladly pay you. It's insane. It's insane how much money you can make, um, like just off of giving. You know?
And I love that though, because as you said, just give and give and give with no expectancies. Just give
Mm-hmm.
and let it
Yes.
unfold itself. Don't be like, okay, when am I going to get compensated? When am I going to get paid? Just let it
Yeah.
happen on its own terms. And it
Mm-hmm.
will. You know, guys, I've checked out Theo and his business partner. It's phenomenal what they're doing here. The logos, the engagement, I think, is the
Mm-hmm.
most important. And they're
Yeah.
adding that. I've watched some of his. If you guys have a chance, man, please check out Theo's IG. The videos that they do for creativity are just like off the chain. I thought I was creative, but these guys are taking it to the next level with cool dances, amazing choreography.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think out of all of this is you're happy.
Yeah.
Considered all the hurdles you know, the worrying about what about friends, worrying about job security, worrying about all this, you're happy and you're passionate. And you can't buy that. They don't teach you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, when I'm looking at what it is he's doing, being happy and passionate, I think is the most important thing, because now he's able to change the world with peace in his heart. He's like, I love what I'm
Absolutely.
doing.
That's another thing. That's another really big thing, actually, that I'd love to touch on
Sure, of course.
is when you start following your passions, when you start following your dreams and stuff that you genuinely want to do, you do become happier. You do become more peaceful. You do become like a more positive version of yourself. And just by doing that, you are already impacting the world on a positive level, because you are adding more positivity to the people around you. You're making the people around you happier, and you're able to do better work. So even if you're like the work that you do, even if it isn't directly about impacting the world, you are impacting the world. Like a musician making music, doing something that he is passionate about or she is passionate about, just by being happy, their music is already having a positive impact on the world. And that's phenomenal. And it doesn't need to be a huge grand scale thing. It can really just be, you know, impacting, you know, maybe 5 people, maybe even one person. And you know what, that one person might go on to create the next big thing that changes things on a larger scale. You never know, right? Just always having that peace and love in your heart. And I think one of the best ways to do that is by starting to follow your genuine path.
And I love that you said that, because following your genuine path means blocking out all the noise. And we get a lot of noise. You get a lot of noise on social media. You get a lot of noise from friends and family. So blocking out all of that and saying, this is what I'm passionate about, I'm going to see this to the end, I think is one of the most courageous things any human being could do. They're going against the tide. So many times we're following what other people want us to do. And that's why I wanted Theo to share his story, because so many times we're doing what others want us to do, but we're unhappy doing it. And then they're proud of us, but we're unhappy. And then it's like when we pull away to say, okay, I'm going to go do this instead, then they're unhappy with you, but then you're happy. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's one of those things that makes it very difficult to do, because as human beings, we're so used to things staying the same. But when change comes, it scares the crap out of us. We're like, oh my God, my friends are changing. Oh my God, my career. Like, we're so afraid of change, but without even realizing that it's those changes that shape us and make us a better character. And as you guys can see, it's done it for Theo. It can do it for you.
It has. Yeah. It's really cool. I just want to say one thing.
Of course.
I think this is a really important idea. I think a lot of people feel guilty about following what they want to do because they get labeled as selfish, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
There's an aspect of, oh, that's so selfish. And people see being selfish and acting in their own self-interest as a negative thing. They see it as something to be guilty about. I know a ton of people that literally, like, they feel extremely guilty for asserting themselves and for doing what they want. And I was one of those people, right? There was guilt associated with doing my own thing. And I think a lot of us do that, but it requires in order to be selfless, the best way to be genuinely selfless and to actually have a really positive impact on the world is to be selfish first.
Yeah.
You need to be acting in your own self-interest and care for yourself first before you can have that positive impact on others. If you are just giving because you feel guilty, that isn't genuine selflessness. That is fear.
Yeah, you're doing it with the wrong heart. Like, your intentions are not good. You're morally doing it from like a place of fear, and like you want approval from other people. Exactly. So you're not doing it from like a place of genuine, authentic you. And I love that you brought that up, because a lot of people will say, why are you so confident? And they'll make you feel bad for being confident. It's like they'll make you feel bad for wanting to go chase your passion. You know what I mean? And it's like, why are
But
you
really,
making me feel bad for doing this?
they're projecting their own guilt on you, right? They
Yeah.
feel guilty. They feel like they would feel guilty in your shoes, so they want you to feel guilty in that situation. It's
And I
just insecurity,
agree.
really.
And I think sometimes we have to keep what we're doing private, because when you have those people projecting that onto you, they're like, why does this person get to run out and go chase their passions, but not me? And then they project that onto you.
But they can.
And they can. And that's the funny thing about it, is sometimes I think it's also better to stay silent, because when you tell these people these things and they see you happy and they see you passionate, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I not happy and passionate?
Mm-hmm.
And then they make you feel bad for doing it. You know
But
what I
here's the
mean?
thing. Here's the thing that I will say about that, man. I think it's good to raise your voice about it
Yeah,
because, yes, it might make them mad. Yes, but you don't need to let them affect you.
that is
You
true.
don't need to let them affect you. And the other thing is that if they do react like that, you can uplift them. Like you can come from a place of compassion and be like, listen, like I get that there is like a stigma around it. I see why you feel that way. But like you can do it too. It's not like it's just me that can do it. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
do it too. And here's how, or read this book, or watch this course if it's something you want to do, right?
I
Like
love that you said that, though.
it doesn't need to be like a you versus me thing. It's like, you know what? Like you're jealous? Okay, like let's help you do that too. Like,
Yeah, I love that you said that, because this isn't Rocky 4 where it's like if he dies, he dies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to help you here. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I love that you brought that up, because even when I first met you, I'm like, here's some books. Like, start
Mhm.
reading these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just when we started doing that and then bouncing these awesome ideas off of each other to get people to see, is it's not about holding people down. It's always about uplifting everybody you come into contact with.
Hmm.
Never holding them down, letting them live out their dreams and path. Never ever telling somebody that they can't do something
Hmm.
because it's not your. So I want to thank you for the phenomenal time that you've given my audience.
Yeah, thank you, man. I've had an awesome time. I really appreciate you having me on here, and it's really great
Friend.
to talk to you again, man. Dude, thank you so much for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yo, man, it's
It's been an
greatly
absolute blast.
appreciated that yeah, man, you were able to add value to people's lives. And I'm hoping just even one person that sees this is able to go out that comfort zone and
Maybe
take
even just a
charge
little
of
bit.
their life into a voice. And I
Yeah.
think even sometimes for me, guys, is I need to start raising my voice. So thank you again.
Thank you, man. Sorry, I think we just
Anytime,
cut out a
man.
bunch, but like seriously, thanks a bunch. And yeah, guys, if you haven't already checked out my stuff, it's called Future Youth. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube. We got a lot of cool content there. Anyway, all right, man. Thanks a bunch.